Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and I thought of a cool tag today, and I decided to go ahead and do it. It is a Halloween type tag, and I've never. Once I thought of it, I just kept building decks and decks and decks onto the tag. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta stop. But I've never seen this tag done before, and I wanted a way to show some of my Halloween decks without doing a Halloween deck haul because I have a lot of Halloween decks now. But I also didn't want it to be just Halloween decks either. And what I came up with was actually a pretty good mix, it turns out. But this is, I'm calling it hashtag tarot in costume. And it's basically popular things you would dress up for Halloween in a deck. So let's say for the first one I put on here was a Greek god or goddess. And for that deck, I have my Mythos Tarot I just got in the mail yesterday. It is a deck of Greek god and goddesses. And I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. The back, it's got gold edging. Those are the backs. And it's really cool. Really cool. Stunning, stunning deck. Everything is beautiful as it should be with a Greek deck. Greek gods and goddesses deck, I would assume. But that's pretty much what I'm going for is basically certain things you would dress up for Halloween. This is one of, I didn't even count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I have 12 prompts and one of them has 2. But this is the Greek gods and goddesses. So you could be either a male or a female. And this is a very popular costume also if you go in like the Halloween stores. It is a popular costume. I think about it every year and then I don't do it. But that is prompt 1 is what would I dress up for Halloween? My Greek god or goddess. And I only thought of that one because I just got this deck. And someday I'm going to dress up like one. So, deck 2 would be a werewolf. What deck represents a werewolf? And a lot of these were just, as soon as I thought of the deck, that's the deck I'm using. And it is the Monster Tarot deck. And I could have done a Mummy, Frankenstein, anybody, but I chose this to be my werewolf deck just because it is very dark, very twisty. There is a couple, this is the backs. There is a couple like the moon and I think the chariot. There's a guy turning into a werewolf. This also could have been a vampire deck. It could be very various decks. This specific one. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, and so far I haven't ran into any of the werewolves. Fishman, Frankenstein. There's a werewolf. The moon, I love that moon. It's turning into a werewolf. So this would be my werewolf deck, just because there's werewolves in it. And it's pretty dark and exactly what I would think of. And there's a lot of full moons in there that makes you think of werewolves also. So that is my costume werewolf deck by Inside Editions. Love it. Okay. That's deck 2. Deck 3, vampire. Now, I don't have any of the traditional vampire decks, but I've always seen this as my vampire deck. It is by Los Scarabero. It is the Tarot de la Nuit. It is dark. It is fantasy-like. And I just dropped all that I just put in there. These are the backs. Very vampire-esque to me with the lace and stuff. And then there's a few. Everybody's beautiful in it also. But there's something going on. Like she has blood in her mouth. There's actually a few mint. Look at the full moon there. She looks very witchy. Everything in here looks very witchy. I mean, very vampire-esque. Yeah, he's got long nails like he's a vampire. Very beautiful, which is how I would see when I read vampire novels and stuff. How you see them. They're very beautiful. And so this has always been my personal vampire deck, even though I don't. It doesn't say if there's vampires or not. This has always been my vampire deck. Look at that. That's cool. One of my favorite death cards. It's a very beautiful deck. There's the extra card. Angel de la Nuit. Angel of the Night. Yeah, he looks very much like a vampire. Very beautiful. Anyway, so that is the Tarot de la Nuit. It's not technically a vampire deck, but to me, it's in my vampire deck. Okay, let's get that in there. Okay, next costume is Leprechaun. And I have, for that, this is actually the prompt that started this for me. The Tarot at the End of the Rainbow. It is full of leprechauns. It is by Low Scarebarrow. It's a tuck box. I've edged it. Oh no, this is not the one I edged. I will be edging this at some point in this dark green. These are the backs. And there's leprechauns all through here. And little ghouls and stuff. Super cute. Maybe I have to run into a leprechaun. There's one. With the rainbow mushrooms. To me, this is there's another one driving. A very leprechaun deck to me. There's another one. It's a very cool deck. I tend to use this more in the summer. There's another leprechaun. Or ghoul dude. There's a leprechaun. Yeah. So if I were to dress up like a leprechaun, it would be this deck. And there's the extra card at the back. So that is the Tarot at the End of the Rainbow. Now I told you there's a good mix here between actual Halloween decks and non-Halloween decks. So that was the Leprechaun. Next would be a witch. And I have a few decks, but the ultimate deck, of course, would be the Hocus Pocus Tarot. To me, it's the ultimate witch deck. I do have the Practical Magic, Inner Witch Practical Magic Oracle, which is based on the movie Practical Magic. I almost picked that, but I'm like, no, I'm going to stick with just tarot this time in this. And this is the perfect deck for that. So we got all the witches, the Sanderson sisters, the ultimate witches this time of year, right? And yeah, this is clearly the witch deck. It does have partial pips. It does have the suits renamed. I don't care. I still love it. Love it. I love that she's the moon, but she's also the chariot on her vacuum, and I just love it. Love it. So this, if I were to wear a witch costume, it would be the Hocus Pocus Tarot. Stunning, and I love it. 2 pieces. Okay, moving on. Witch. Now we had witch. Now we have a ghost. And of course, that has to be the Ghost and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. This is a U.S. Games deck. The Hocus Pocus was an Inside Editions deck, if you didn't know. Backs. Every single card is a different ghost from a different legend or a different play or something, which I find fascinating. And I love it. And of course, if you don't have this deck, I don't know why you wouldn't at this time of year. But, I mean, her artwork is stunning. But, of course, this is the ultimate ghost deck to me. It's beautiful, and they're all ghost, and I love it. And I don't tend to actually use this for Halloween. I use it more of a mediumistic deck. It is a more serious deck than just some kitschy Halloween deck. And I love it, and I love her artwork. And that is my ghost deck. Next, we have Pumpkin. And that would be my Jack-O-Lantern Tarot by Los Scarabero. I was tossing back and forth between this being a skeleton deck and a pumpkin, but it's a pumpkin. And I edged it in this red. Backs. Everything in here is pumpkins. There's a pumpkin in every scene, I'm sure. But there's also skeletons in almost every scene. But it is totally pumpkin. There's skulls there. Totally a pumpkin deck. And so if you were to dress up like a pumpkin, it would be this deck. Which I think is pretty cool. And I like the colors in it and the skulls. So next would be skeleton, and that would be, of course, I didn't even think about it till tonight. I'm like, of course it has to be the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I edged it in this like wine color. But if you were to dress up like a skeleton, it would be this deck. Because everything has skulls, skeletons, parts of the body in it. Even organs. There's a skull. It's the High Priestess. Gorgeous. I love that it's got flowers. But of course, this would be the ultimate skeleton deck, right? Stunning, stunning. I love this Wheel of Fortune. It's one of my favorite Wheel of Fortunes. There's bones all in it. There's the Emperor. The Empress is like that too, but a female version. I love this tower. Yep. So that is the Antique Anatomy as a skeleton. If you were to dress up in costume to be a skeleton, it would be the Antique Anatomy. Next, I have, getting down there, guys. I gotta find it. Oh, Mermaid. So, there's only one deck that could possibly be, and that is the Mermaid Tarot by Lisa Robertson. This is a Llewellyn Publishing deck, the big box, the big book. I rarely use this deck, even though I needed it. I edged it in this blue to match the backs. It's perfect edging. There's the backs. But this, yeah, there's a mermaid in every card. So if you were to dress up like a mermaid, it would have to be this deck, right? This would be the ultimate mermaid. Now, I do have this Tarot Siren, which is a Marseille. I thought of that, but that's the only two mermaid decks I have. And it's weird because I was like, oh, I need to get every mermaid deck out there. And then I became very picky, which is why I don't have a all-out vampire deck, because those kind of themed decks, for some reason, I'm very, very picky on getting them. This one I got as an accidental knockoff because I thought it was different than this tarot, and then I realized it was the same deck. So I went and bought this one, rebought this one with the book and that everything, because it's stunning. And I love the colors in it. And if you were to dress up like a mermaid, it would have to be the Mermaid Tarot. And that is one of my favorite lovers cards out there. Beautiful. Because it's all about self-reflection. And that's what makes this deck pretty deep for Mermaid Tarot. Next would be a fairy. That would be my Fairy Tarot by Los Scarabero. This was bought this year. I think it came out this year too. I love the backs. for this chariot alone, this is my favorite, or my tarot, my fairy tarot. This makes it a lighthearted kind of deck, and it's really cute. The art is really beautiful. I have a lot of fairy decks, so this one was hard, but I went with the first deck I thought of, which was this deck, because it's more fun and lighthearted, and what you would see in a fairy costume, if you were to dress up like a fairy, you're going to have like purple wings, or, you know, you're going to be really pretty and bright and colorful and not dark and twisted, right? So that's what I see for Halloween, for a fairy deck. So this fairy tarot would be my costume if I were to dress up as a fairy. Okay. I have 2 prompts left. Next to last. And I could not understand why I did not even think of this first, because it's my favorite Halloween deck. I use it all year long. It makes me laugh so hard. It's the Zombie Tarot. So if I want to dress up like a zombie, I'm going to use this deck. This is the ultimate zombie deck, right? Everybody has this deck. It's stunning. The images make me laugh so hard. It's one of those decks. If I'm down in the dumps, all I gotta do is pull this deck out and look at some of the images, and I'm cracking up. It's lovers. That's crazy. Yeah, so I can see myself going dark and twisty with this, or light and fluffy, right? Because that's how this deck reads for me. It's either dark and twisted or kitschy and fun. And I think if you were to dress up as a zombie, there's a plethora of ways you could do that to either make it fun and lighthearted or dark and serious looking. And so obviously, they're turned around now. Obviously, this is my zombie deck. If I were to dress up as a zombie, it would be the Zombie Tarot. And that's that. Last but not least, we have 2 prompts. I'm going to show them really quickly before I run out of time. I couldn't think of a last prompt, and then I'm like, oh my God. The one thing I've been wanting to dress up for the last 4 or 5 years, and I haven't had the guts, is the Day of the Dead, Santa Muerta. And what better deck to use than the Santa Muerta Tarot? So if I want to dress up like the Day of the Dead, I'm going to use this deck. And I do have 2 prompts for this just because I couldn't leave the other one out. I'm going to go through this real quickly. This is by Los Scarabero, just because everybody's seen this deck. Everybody has this deck or has gotten rid of this deck. This is the ultimate Santa Muerta Day of the Dead Tarot. And it has, actually, in the book, in the write-up, it has actual quotes or, not quotes, but advice from the dead. And that's what makes this the Day of the Dead. And it could have also been a skeleton or even kind of like a zombie deck, in a way too. But it's stunning and I love it. I've really gotten some use out of it this year, and really have took the time to use that this year. I haven't before. And then the last one is the Sugar Skull Tarot. Sugar Skull is another way you can say Day of the Dead. Also, this is by, I can't read that, but that's the emblem for the publishing house. This is a huge deck, and I freaking love it. I don't like that the edges weren't edged. They're still pointy. It is kind of cardboardy. I have to do them sideways to show you the backs because they're huge. This reminds me of like a Mexican-American, Southwest kind of deal. And it just puts in that mindset of the Day of the Dead, sugar skulls, all that kind of thing. And so this is my second deck that I would use if I did not have the Santa Muerta Tarot, that I would use or dress up in if I were to dress up as the Sugar Skulls or the Day of the Dead. And it's cute. And I love that It's got some specific color themes, like the wands are more red. The swords are like a blue and pink. Yeah, there's the pentacle. They're more like a beige, burnt dark orange and yellow. There's the star. Okay, wands are pink and red. Yeah. So I like that it's got a thematic color scheme to it. But yeah, that is my decks. I thought I would show you guys some more decks just because I wanted to show some decks. And I've never seen this tag before where what Halloween costume via a making that into a tarot deck would you wear? And so I just thought that would be cool today when I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a list of all these costumes that, people would normally wear, like ghost, witch, vampire. Those are like go-tos, right? So I just kept going with it and made up this list. Anybody can do this tag. I would love to see you guys' tags also. You can use mine. You can take some out. You can add some if you want. Do your own thing with it. I just catered mine to what decks I have that would go with a costume. So, do what you want. I encourage everybody out there to do it. I would love to see everybody's videos. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.